Good morning and welcome to the launch of our province-wide Moments Matter campaign, which was developed thank you to the generous support of Justice Canada. I'm Corinne Ofsty, and I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives at the Association of Alberta Sexual Assault Services, or AASAS, as we call it. As a network of 14 sexual assault centres that span the province of Alberta, I want to acknowledge and recognize that we work and live within the traditional, unceded lands and traveling routes of the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. The AASAS network is committed to truth-telling and to centering relationships with Indigenous communities in our path towards reconciliation. As I acknowledge the land and seek to open this event in a good way, it is striking to me how at the heart of this campaign we're launching today is the power of story. And this is something we have learned from Indigenous teachings, that sharing our stories creates a deeper understanding of each other, and that when we can see ourselves in each other's story, a bridge is built between us. Before I share more on this storytelling campaign, let me explain why this campaign is so important. We surveyed 1,000 Albertans and we learned that 1 in 5 has been sexually harassed by someone at work. Few are reaching out for help. About a third of Albertans said that they would report to their leader or their manager, but even less, just 15% said that they would report to their human resources. More than anything, Albertans said they wanted their employers to have their backs, and they ranked their leaders and managers promoting a positive workplace culture as the most important influence on their work environment. And then when we looked at the research literature, we saw that traditional approaches to workplace sexual harassment are not having the impact that we'd hoped for, and that globally studies show rates of sexual harassment haven't changed in decades. These approaches to workplace sexual harassment typically tell you what sexual harassment is, not to do it, and what the consequences will be if you do. And while this is so important, it's not preventing sexual harassment from occurring in the first place. Moments Matter is different because we are focusing less on what not to do and focusing more on what to do. Positive behavior. Positive workplace cultures, because these positive workplace cultures keep workers healthy and safe, and they also help stop sexual harassment. Research demonstrates that inclusive and respectful work cultures not only improve employee loyalty, productivity, innovation, and well-being, it's also a primary defense against sexual harassment. Our campaign celebrates leading by example. And we are doing that by encouraging people to share their positive work stories, where a great leader that they've worked with positively impacted them, made them feel protected and supported, helped them to grow and succeed, when care was shown, and when sexual harassment was prevented and addressed. And you're going to hear some of these stories from our speakers today. We are sharing positive work stories because we know from behavioral sciences and social norms marketing that it's the best way of creating more of them. There's even research that actually tells us that those who experience kindness in the workplace pay it forward nearly 300%. So leaders, both formal and informal, imagine the ripple effects at work from a single moment of kindness. And how in workplaces like this, that are filled with moments that matter. Imagine how out of place, disrespectful conduct, comments, and behavior like sexual harassment would be. Not only does Moments Matter seek to prevent harm and promote healthy workplaces, it also helps people get the support they need through Alberta's One Line for Sexual Violence. With funding from the Government of Alberta, One Line is confidential, specialized support, information, and connection to resources that folks can call, they can text, they can web chat 7 days a week with service in over 200 languages. Our message is simple. We believe you. It's not your fault. And when you're ready, we're here to help. This year marks the first year of this campaign, and we are so grateful to our many employer partners for helping us build momentum for this message. With their help, we're making positive work cultures the norm in Alberta. And to celebrate a year of firsts, we've invited leaders who have been among the first to join the campaign to speak at today's launch. But first, I would like to invite the Associate Minister of Status of Women, Whitney Isaac, from the Government of Alberta to bring greetings on behalf of the province. Welcome, Associate Minister Isaac.
And it's a pleasure to be here this morning. Good morning, everyone. As Alberta's Associate Minister for the Status of Women, it's an honor to be here as part of today's launch. Alberta's government is proud to support the Association of Alberta Sexual Assault Services. It provides coordinated and invaluable support across the province and advocates for the needs of shelters and programs so they can focus on delivering frontline service. And year after year, AASAS has shown that it is innovative and adaptable to the changing needs of its members. Excuse me. Ensuring above all else that they can keep supporting survivors of sexual and domestic violence. We saw the ingenuity when AASAS launched Alberta's One Line for Sexual Violence 2 years ago. At the time, we weren't aware yet that COVID-19 was on its way. And One Line really did prove to be such a vital tool for survivors when the pandemic arrived. And it offered a lifeline to those in isolation with their abusers, a true lifeline. And now we are here to celebrate the launch of another amazing program, one that addresses workplace harassment as well as sexual harassment. This will help set Albertans up for success so we can all thrive in our economic recovery. And I'm so pleased that it is such a positive program. And I think that is something that as we come out of COVID-19, positivity is something that is very much in need in our society. Too many of us think that workplace harassment, including sexual harassment, must be some obvious action and that it's easy to define. We think it'll be easy to spot, to report, or to deal with. But the facts are that harassment can be much more subtle. Harassment can happen in a quick moment, a glance, a small type of action. You know it's harassment because it sticks with you. All of these moments build up into something heavy that we end up carrying around. This affects our ability to perform to our fullest, and it creates a toxic work environment. Fact of the matter is that every single Albertan has a right to a safe and respectful workplace. And AASAS has put in the work to help workplaces adopt a positive and safe culture. This campaign matters, especially now. As Alberta returns to normal, we re-enter our workplaces and focus on our economic recovery. It is vital that we take all the steps to make sure our work culture is positive and respectful. When our workplaces are safe, we are stopping sexual harassment in its tracks. We are taking care of the mental health of employees. We are boosting the well-being of our colleagues, ensuring team success, and overall boosting job performance. Everyone benefits when we take actions, no matter how small, to stop workplace harassment. On behalf of, the Alberta government, I thank AASAS for their continued commitment to making life better for Albertans. And I cannot wait to watch Moments Matter, the campaign, take off. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Associate Minister Isaac. And now I'd like to welcome Lubna Zaim, Clinical Director from Islamic Family Social Services Association, our very first Moments Matter campaign partner. Lubna.
Thanks, Corinne, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. Peace to all. I would like to start with a land acknowledgement. Calling any part of Turtle Island home means understanding our place, both physically and otherwise. It is important to recognize that this home existed before us, that this land, Treaty 6 territory, and Métis Nation Region 4 was a home and gathering place before us for many Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Dene, Assaute. We pray for the safety, autonomy, and decolonization of this land and its people. As a woman of color and a visible minority, I felt a sense of relief when I heard about the Moments Matter campaign being launched by AASAS. Workplace sexual harassment is traumatic for all, but particularly challenging for newcomers, immigrants, and refugees who are already vulnerable. And if the harasser is a person in power, the victim has no escape. Either they can quit or endure unending harassment. I am an immigrant as well and can relate to individuals who have no concept of equity, are unfamiliar with their rights, do not understand labor laws, and have language barriers. For them, harassment may also be intertwined with discrimination and at times racism. These aspects of vulnerability often become a bait for the perpetrator to harass and exploit the individual. According to 2014 Stat Canada report, recent immigrants to Canada are more likely to experience discrimination at work due to language, race, skin color, or culture. I would like to share a personal story. An immigrant client of mine, a single mother with 2 children who had no other family support. While working at a grocery store, she found that unethical practices were happening, and she became concerned about the safety of the customer. She immediately complained to her supervisor and was told to mind her own business. To create fear, he started to sexually harass her. He would put his hand on her work coat pocket, saying, "Just making sure you have not stolen any food items for your lunch," or would corner her, blocking her movement. She approached the union at work and the police, but to no avail. The hostile, abusive work environment continued for months. She felt anxious, depressed, and could no longer focus on the task at hand, and developed chronic conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes. Finally, one day she attempted suicide. Fortunately, her sons were able to seek timely medical help. But from that time onwards, her life went downhill. This case depicts how difficult it is for an immigrant to protect themselves when faced with harassment and to get heard to receive justice, and how, in moments of extreme vulnerability, great harm can be done by those in positions of power and authority. That is why we are a partner of the Moments Matter campaign, because in moments of extreme vulnerability, leadership can also do enormous good. Imagine how different the outcomes would have been for my client if, in those moments when she came to those leaders for help, they listened to her, believed her, supported her, respected her. And imagine what effect that positive behavior would have had on others at the workplace by creating an upward spiral of protection and respect. At my organization, Islamic Family and Social Services Association, we abide by values of mercy, true partnership, beneficence, light, and heartfelt ingenuity. In a staff survey this year, 100% responded to recommend IFSA as a workplace to work because there is no hierarchy. And outreach staff's opinion carries the same weight as that of a manager or even the executive director himself. A positive work milieu encourages individuals of all experience levels to become personally involved, invested in their tasks, and have a feeling of being heard. I would like to congratulate the members of Moments Matter team for all their hard work in launching this timely campaign that provides voice to the victims of sexual harassment. The Moments Matter campaign will empower victims of workplace harassment to come forward and share their experiences. It will not only affect change in the form of policies and procedures, but surely be a step towards a systemic change. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lubna. And now please welcome Carolyn Cron, Executive Director of the Workers Resource Center, our first agency partner. Carolyn.
Hello, everybody. The Workers Resource Center was excited to be the first agency to partner with AASAS on their Moments Matter campaign, as we share a collective desire to see workplaces free from sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is a human rights issue and is protected under federal and provincial human rights legislation. The Workers Resource Center is a charitable agency that is dedicated to upholding the rights and entitlements that workers have in their respective workplaces. Sadly, too many times, the Workers Resource Center has had to file human rights complaints on behalf of individuals in order to have employers take this matter seriously. Sexual harassment not only creates a toxic work environment for the one harassed, but it can also have lasting emotional and health effects that stay with the victim long after their exposure to sexual harassment. When I was first entering the workforce, I worked in the restaurant as a server. There was a customer that came in and was seated in my section. He was extremely rude and made some offhand comments that embarrassed me and were not appropriate. My restaurant manager, upon hearing this, went up to the table and told the customer to get his stuff and get out. It meant a lot to me that my manager was willing to back me in a time when the old adage was still, the customer is always right. I stayed working there for a long time after because I felt respected and valued. It's what I hope to do with my own staff in my own workforce each and every day. People should feel free to attend their places of work and not to suffer a violation of their rights. One of the things that excited our agency about getting involved with the Moments Matter campaign was the decision to model positive workplace behaviors. The more agencies and workplaces that step up to model and enact positive behaviors, the less that people will have to suffer the impacts of sexual harassment. It is my hope that through the important work that AASAS is doing and the collective voice of Albertans that stand up and say, we do not tolerate harassment, we can imagine a future that does not include these harmful practices. I am proud to stand here on behalf of the Workers Resource Center with AASAS in putting an end to this behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And now please welcome Rhiannon Adams with Parlee McLaws, our first law firm to join the campaign.
The first time I heard about the Moments Matter campaign from Deb and Corinne, I was intrigued, both by the approach being taken to harassment, to address harassment in the workplace, but also the research that had been done to support their approach. After attending a campaign information session with one of the partners on our firm's management committee, we agreed that Parley McLaws LLP should become a campaign partner. We have all experienced the feeling of being isolated from those we work with, either as a result of working from home, canceling corporate events, or limiting social interactions with colleagues. As we start to come back into the office, there is an opportunity to explore and develop ways in which we can ensure that the environment that people come back into is a positive one that supports and fosters positive relationships. The Moments Matter campaign provides a fundamental and important building block to making the most of this opportunity. And that's why Parley McLaws LLP is proud to be a partner of the Moments Matter campaign. On a personal note, I love how this campaign approaches the issue of harassment in the workplace from a different angle. The traditional association with harassment with blame and shame leads to fear and distrust in the workplace. Refocusing on small, or seemingly small, but impactful positive moments that happen at work builds an environment of respect, appreciation, and support. This type of environment fosters an openness to hear the opinions and experiences of colleagues and allows for the growth of a cohesive team that is able to address difficult topics and discuss uncomfortable situations, knowing that they are in a safe space. I was fortunate to experience a moment that mattered early in my time at Parley McLaws. I was a summer student, so I just finished my first year of law school. A senior partner had asked me to do some research and prepare a memo just on a particular legal issue. So after submitting it to him, he asked me to come into his office, at which point I was very nervous. When I arrived, he had said he had given the memo to the client and that they had feedback. He handed me a piece of paper. The body of the email read, "I have just reviewed the memo from Miss Noble," which is my maiden name, on product liability and recall notices. Thanks for sending it along. It was very interesting. I really liked reading it. Would you pass on my compliments to Miss Noble for a job well done? Now, I can attest to the fact that partners are very busy people, being a partner now myself. He did not have to take the time to reach out and pass along the compliment, but he did do it. It gave me the confidence the rest of the summer, and to this day makes me remember how proud and appreciated I felt during that time. And in fact, I still have that piece of paper he gave me over 10 years ago. I don't know that partner would remember the memo I wrote or that he had taken the time to pass along the comments, but it is a moment that has stuck with me, and it is definitely a moment that mattered. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhiannon. And now please welcome Erica Vickers, Director of Corporate Services at the Town of Innisfil, our first municipal government partner.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today and letting the town of Innisfil be a part of this amazing campaign. The town of Innisfil is a great little town with a population just under 8,000 people and is located in central Alberta. Our mission is to create an inclusive, entrepreneurial, and beautiful community with a connection to the region and each other. We have pride in our community, in our community's diversity, beauty, and economic opportunity. The town of Innisfil acknowledges that all employees have the right to be treated with respect in the workplace and is committed to providing a safe workplace that is free from any fear of discrimination, harassment, bullying, or workplace violence. We first developed our respectful workplace policy back in 2018 and have since upgraded it again just this past June. It applies to all those working for the town, including our elected officials, leaders, employees, and contract service providers. Staff engagement sessions have been successful to inform all of our town staff on the details of this policy. Earlier this year, when we heard about the Moments Matter campaign, we decided that this would be a great opportunity to continue our awareness and education on regarding sexual harassment and discrimination in the workplace. Learning that simple, positive, relatable stories can strengthen and grow positive workplace cultures, and how important this is for personal well-being, team success, and job performance. But I'll be honest, what really got me excited was during the information session, I heard the story about the potato skins. The example was, a restaurant in my hometown got a review that said the server should show some skin. So the owner added the potato skin special to the menu, and all the proceeds went to the West Virginia Foundation for Rape Information Services. I thought that it was amazing that a business owner would support its frontline workers in this way. If more people heard about this story, other people with similar stories could be encouraged to share their own. Positive workplace examples that would encourage people to emulate those positive behaviors as well. Over the next 3 years, the town of Innisfil is going to work with the Moments Matter campaign by talking with our employees, encouraging them to share their own stories, and work to create a positive and respectful workplace. And if we all do our part, we will get there, one positive story at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. And now please welcome Dr. Steve Price, Dean at the Faculty of Health, Community, and Education at Mount Royal University, as well as Dr. Gay Worth, Associate Dean of Teaching and Learning, also with the Faculty of Health, Community, and Education at MRU.
Thanks, Corinne. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here to take part in the launch of the Moments Matter campaign. I'm honored to represent Mount Royal University, including our Wellness Services Unit and the Faculty of Health, Community, and Education. I'd like to acknowledge that our President, Dr. Tim Raleigh, our Interim Provost, Dr. Elizabeth Evans, our colleague, Rochelle McGrath, who's the Director of Wellness Services, and our Dating, Domestic, and Sexual Violence Response and Awareness Coordinator, Carrie Ionson, and the many employees that demonstrate tremendous leadership and contribute to addressing sexual harassment and working towards fostering a healthy environment for Mount Royal staff, faculty, and most importantly for our students. Moments Matter is important for all post-secondary institutions. At Mount Royal, our vision is to foster a safe university community that's built on trusting relationships. We have a long history of partnerships with the Association of Alberta Sexual Assault Services, and we are eager to join forces to launch a campaign like Moments Matter that's dedicated to celebrating leadership that builds a culture of trust. We care deeply about students, faculty, and staff, and after noticing the impact of the I Believe You campaign, which was first launched in 2015, we had no hesitations in joining and partnering with AASAS again. When we hear the word leader, some people think of the title of dean or president or manager. And while people with those titles do demonstrate admirable leadership, we notice the ways in which all members of our Mount Royal community demonstrate leadership, no matter how big or how small. We're committed to helping our community realize their potential and creating a future of trusted leaders. We tell our Mount Royal community, you belong here. You belong here as a student. You belong here as an employee. You belong here as an instructor, a professor, a faculty member. You belong here as an athlete. You belong here as an academic. You belong here as a student. Belonging is about more than feeling included in a community. When we say you belong here, we strive to ensure that you are safe, that you are valued, and you are heard. The importance of cultivating a safe workspace for all of the individuals that work at Mount Royal goes beyond the doors of the university. We want to set an example for our students entering the workplace, showing them that sexual harassment cannot and will not be tolerated. We want them to know that strong leadership is key to a healthy workplace, and we want to partner with AASAS and Moments Matter to empower our students to have confidence to be a great leader at any stage in their career. Please welcome my colleague, Dr. Gayworth.
Well, I am so excited to be here. This is such a great campaign, another great campaign that AASAS is bringing to us. And I want to thank you for helping create safer communities, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. As an academic, my research is dedicated to understanding and preventing dating, domestic, and sexual violence. In spite of the heightened awareness from campaigns like the Me Too campaign, employees continue to experience sexual harassment in the workplace, and the serious consequences of sexual harassment have not been adequately addressed. We need to work harder to prevent sexual harassment, and Mount Royal is committed to doing the work and finding strategies that contribute to ending sexual harassment. Moments Matter is a positive step forward towards our goal. Mount Royal is proud to be the first post-secondary institution to partner with Moments Matter. And as Dr. Price mentioned earlier, we have a long history of offering programs and services focused on responding to individuals who have experienced dating, domestic, and sexual violence. As well, Mount Royal offers programming for post-secondary students focused on the primary prevention of relationship violence and the promotion of healthy relationships. When the I Believe You campaign was first launched, we sought to help empower survivors of sexual violence to come forward. Through our wellness services and our programs in health, community, and education, Mount Royal helped to educate and train our campus community on responding to disclosures of sexual violence. Our graduates have contributed to an important shift in the community. We know that attitudes and beliefs that support sexual harassment also contribute to acceptance of relationship violence, which is why calling out sexual harassment is so important to creating healthy communities. We understand that standing up to sexual harassment can be challenging and uncomfortable, which is why celebrating those who step forward is paramount in striving for change. What's so compelling about this campaign is knowing that we can all play a role in building a safe and healthy work environment. All it takes is one moment, one leader, to step up and say, that's not okay. And that moment deserves to be recognized and celebrated. And I just have to pause without script and tell you a little story. When I first joined Mount Royal as the Associate Dean, it was a big step and I was very excited. I'd been at Mount Royal, but I was going into a new role. And my boss sat me down and said, there's 3 things that we ask, that I ask, he said, of everybody I work with. The one is, he said it's to work, do your job. I heard work hard, and I took it literally. So work hard, tell the truth, and be kind. And I can tell you that has shaped my experience in working with this work group. And I can tell you that working with my boss continues to be something that I look forward to every day. And that boss is Dr. Steve Price. At Mount Royal, we're keen on expanding our knowledge through the Moments Matter campaign to end workplace sexual harassment and to build safe and trusting work communities. And let's get going. There's work to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Gay. And thank you so much to all of our speakers. Now, before we close, we need your help to get the word out as much as possible. Share a post on social media and don't forget to use the hashtag MomentsMatterAB. Get on our website, momentsmatter.info, and share your positive work story with us. And if your organization is not one of the 50 already on the leaderboard, get them to join this campaign. Thank you, everyone. We hope you'll join us in believing that when it comes to workplace wellness, little moments can make the biggest difference of all.